You don't notice it at first. There's no dramatic ending, no clear goodbye, just a slow shift. The replies get shorter. The energy feels different. The way they look at you changes, almost like something invisible has quietly faded. And you sit there wondering what happened. You replay conversations in your head, searching for that one moment where everything went wrong. But the truth is, it rarely happens in one moment. Interest doesn't disappear overnight. It fades silently beneath the surface long before you ever notice it. And the hardest part is not the distance, it's the confusion. Because in the beginning, everything felt real. They were present, engaged, interested. There was connection, excitement, maybe even a sense of something meaningful building between you. So when that same person starts pulling away, your mind doesn't accept it easily. You don't just lose them, you lose clarity. You start asking yourself questions that slowly eat away at your confidence. Was I too much? Not enough? Did I say something wrong? Or worse, was it all just temporary from the start? What most people don't realize is that when someone loses interest, it's not always about you in the way you think. It's not just about what you said or didn't say. It's deeper than that. Interest is not just attraction. It's emotional alignment, timing, self-awareness, and internal stability. And when even one of those things is off, something begins to shift. Not loudly, not obviously, but slowly, in ways that are hard to detect until it's already happening. Sometimes, the person you're trying to connect with doesn't even understand themselves. They don't know what they want, what they're ready for, or what they're capable of giving. In the beginning, they feel something and they follow it. But feelings without clarity don't last. So what starts as genuine interest slowly turns into hesitation. They begin to question things they didn't question before. Not because you changed, but because their own uncertainty finally caught up with them. And when someone is internally confused, their external behavior becomes inconsistent. One day they're close, the next day they're distant. Not because they're playing games, but because they're lost within themselves. Then there's the kind of connection that begins with intensity, but has no depth underneath it. Everything feels fast, exciting, almost effortless. Conversations flow, attraction is strong, and it feels like something powerful is happening. But what you're actually experiencing is momentum, not stability. And momentum fades. When a connection is built only on surface-level excitement, it doesn't have the emotional foundation to survive once that excitement naturally settles. So when things start to feel normal instead of intense, one person begins to interpret that as something is missing, when in reality, it's just the beginning of something real that they don't know how to handle. And sometimes it's not about them. It's about what you're unconsciously showing. When you don't feel secure within yourself, it reflects in subtle ways. You might hold back parts of your personality. You might overthink your words before saying them. You might try too hard to be liked, to be accepted, to not lose them. And in doing that, you slowly disconnect from your natural self. The other person doesn't always understand why, but they feel it. They feel a lack of ease, a lack of authenticity, a kind of tension that doesn't allow the connection to fully breathe. And over time, that feeling turns into distance. There are also moments where things feel right, but the timing isn't. One person is ready for something deeper, while the other is still trying to figure out their life. One is looking for stability, the other is focused on growth, change, or even healing from something unresolved. And no matter how strong the connection is, if two people are not aligned in where they are emotionally, something will eventually break. Not because the connection wasn't real, but because it couldn't survive in that moment of their lives. What makes all of this even more complicated is how people react when they feel the shift. Instead of stepping back and observing, most people lean in harder. They try to fix it, chase it, control it. They send more messages, ask more questions, seek more reassurance. But the more you chase something that's already pulling away, the more pressure you create. And pressure doesn't bring people closer, it pushes them further. Not because they don't care, but because the space they needed to feel naturally connected is no longer there. And this is where a quiet pattern begins. The more you try to hold on, the more they let go. The more you try to understand, the less clarity you receive. And eventually, you find yourself in a situation where you're emotionally invested in someone who is slowly detaching. Not suddenly, not aggressively, just enough to make you question everything, but not enough to give you a clear reason to walk away. The truth is, interest is fragile when it's built on unstable foundations. It needs more than attraction. It needs emotional readiness, self-awareness, and the ability to handle real connection once it moves beyond the initial phase. Without that, even the strongest beginnings can quietly collapse. So instead of asking, why did they lose interest? Maybe the better question is, what was this connection built on? Was it clarity or confusion? Depth or just intensity? Alignment or just timing? Because when you start looking at it this way, something shifts inside you. You stop taking everything personally. You stop assuming that every ending is a reflection of your worth. And that doesn't mean you ignore your own patterns. Sometimes there are things to learn. Maybe you did overextend yourself. Maybe you ignored red flags. Maybe you gave too much too soon or expected too much too fast. But that's not failure. That's awareness. And awareness is what allows you to move differently next time. Because the goal is not to become someone who never loses people. That's not realistic. The goal is to become someone who understands connection deeply enough to recognize when something is real and when it's just temporary energy that was never meant to last. So the next time you feel someone pulling away, don't panic immediately. Pause. Observe. Notice what's actually happening beneath the surface. Because sometimes what feels like rejection is actually redirection, not away from love, but towards something more stable, more aligned, and more real. And maybe the real shift happens when you stop chasing people who are unsure about you and start choosing connections where interest doesn't feel like something you have to fight to keep alive. If this made you reflect on your own experiences, take a moment and think about the patterns you've seen in your relationships. And if you feel like someone needs to hear this message, share it with them. Because sometimes understanding why things end is the first step toward building something that actually lasts.